Hey, Ron, how's it going?
Good, Chris. Good to see you.
Thanks for jumping on the call with me. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
So basically, I just wanted to have a conversation with you about our history and like how we met each other and what happened. Real straightforward kind of thing. So, Tell me about how we met each other and then what happened.
Well, I think it was 2015. I had made a decision to retire out of the sewing machine business, and you had a store in Cheyenne, Wyoming at that time, and you expressed an interest in coming to Casper and assuming ownership of that store, and so we worked out a deal. I liquidated out, and then you came in and picked up the rest of what equipment I had left, and ran the ball from there.
A retirement sale for quite some time, was very successful sale, and did really well. And I think it's a really good lesson for a lot of people that are like selling their business or getting out of their business. Like running a liquidation sale is a really good idea for sure.
Well, and I wished I could say I thought it up, and I tried to list the business for sale through a realtor for a while, and I just absolutely got nowhere. And I think most investors, they might have money to invest in a project or a business, but a lot of people cannot connect the dots on, and I didn't really have much of an interest that way. And so I decided to go ahead and do a liquidation retirement sale. And like I say, I pretty much followed its plan right on down the line. And, it went on for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and it was quite successful. By the end, I think when we closed the doors, I think we had one sewing machine left.
Yeah.
So we wrung it out pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, really good. And I got to say, I've seen a couple other deals like that, or like that liquidation sale. And what happens is it's interesting because what I see is like the buyer and the seller of a business sometimes are adverse to liquidation sales because they're like, oh, we don't want the customers to be worried. And then the buyer is like, well, and I also don't want you to use up all the business. They think that like the business is something that you're going to extinguish. But what actually happens is you run that sale and the marketing happens after that sale. Like when I got into your business, the store was still super busy. Like we were still really busy. Like we still had customers like coming through the door like crazy. Right. Because they wanted to meet the new person. They wanted to see what was going on because we had this like narrative going basically.
Well, yeah.
Story going.
Well, the beautiful part of that, Chris, if you might recall, because I think you and I worked together, probably, you had come on board and we had made a decision, to kind of move things in your direction when I was finished, is we actually used that as a way to gain legitimacy that, look, you're going to invest a lot of money in the guy that's behind me that's coming up to take care of you is very well qualified to take care of you. He's been in the business. So it really added a lot of legitimacy and took the fear factor away, because they knew, that's a good point, that they knew somebody was there behind me that was going to take good care of him, and you certainly did. It was, the timing was great. And the interesting thing about you was that, I've always thought myself to be a pretty good judge of character, and I liked you from hello, and I felt like I could trust you very, very early in the process. And so it was probably the easiest little transaction I had ever been through. So, and hats off and kudos to you for that.
Thanks, Ron.
It was all pretty cut and dry, pretty simple, I thought.
How would you describe working with me?
You are one of the most impressive businessmen I've ever met, and for your age, you are wise beyond your years. Would be what I would say. You're wise beyond your years.
Thanks, Ron. I really appreciate that.
A lot of business acumen, a lot of, you've got a lot of dedication. You're smart. You're focused. You're one of these people that, I was always kind of fighting. I always had a good idea, but then I'd have a hard time implementing it. And I saw you just move from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, in record time. So no, I would say that anything you're involved in, the focus and dedication and the intelligence that you bring to a deal is second to none.
Thanks, Ron. I really appreciate that.
Well, the good thing is in knowing you for the amount of time that I have, I can absolutely believe in anything you have to say. And now that I know how unbelievably intelligent you are and gifted you are as it pertains to business, is that I wouldn't have to listen to what your deal was and then have to go out and find out if you're telling me the truth. That, you know, what you say is what you see is what you get with Chris Blakeman, and that's a good thing.
I appreciate that, Ron. Thanks, man.
Oh, and for the record, I did not know this phone call was going to happen today, so I'm completely unrehearsed. So the fact that all this came out is obviously, you know, how I feel about you as a businessman and as a human being.
So one last question that's pretty
Mhm.
that's pretty easy is like, in one word, if you describe our business interaction, what would you describe it as?
Clean. It's totally clean.
Nice. I like it. Nice, Ron. Awesome, man. Anything else you want to touch on?
Well, I would just say, you know, to anybody that's considering, you know, looking into any kind of a business venture or business opportunity with you, is that they can absolutely rely on what you say is what's going to happen, and that's such a rare quantity these days, for people, uh, that you are honest and you're driven and you're focused and you're genuine and you're hardworking. And so who wouldn't want to be in business with somebody like that?
Thanks, Ron. I really appreciate that, man.
You bet.